A snickerdoodle is a drop cookie that's been topped with cinnamon and sugar. It typically has a cracked surface and can be soft or chewy. It is listed as one of the most favorite cookies around. Because of this, I'm going to be showing you on how to make the perfect snickerdoodle. The first thing I do when I'm baking any sort of dessert is I get into comfy clothes that I don't mind getting dirty. This is in case loose products like flour flare up when we're mixing it. The first step we need to do when making the perfect snickerdoodle is preheat our oven to 375 degrees. To do this, we go over to our oven, press bake, and it automatically comes up as 350. In my case, I gotta change it to 375. After you click those buttons, hit start. And now it is preheating to 375 degrees, which is the exact temperature at which we want. Personally, I like to pre-measure all of my ingredients before I bake anything. For the perfect snickerdoodle, we will need a half a cup of butter, a half a cup of shortening, in my case it's Crisco, 2 eggs, 2 teaspoons of vanilla that we have yet to measure out just because it's a liquid ingredient, 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1.5 cups of granulated sugar, 2 3/4 cups of flour, 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, and a mixture that we're going to use to coat the balls of dough on, which is 1 tablespoon of cinnamon and 4 tablespoons of granulated sugar. To start off this recipe, we need to cream together the sugar, the shortening, and a softened half cup of butter. Now let's say your butter is not soft and you don't want to wait for an hour for it to do so. Here's a little tip. Take a glass of water and place it in the microwave for 2 minutes. After it's done, the glass will be nice and hot and you can place your stick of butter inside the cup and the heat from the glass will soften the butter without melting it in the microwave. Once that's done, you want to take your half a cup of butter and put it into the bowl. Same with your Crisco and your sugar. It's important to cream these ingredients together first because otherwise you're not going to get that soft and chewy consistency you would otherwise. Once all your ingredients are in the bowl, you want to turn your stand on to a middle number. My numbers are 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. I'm going to start off at 4 and then slowly move up to 6 once the ingredients are more mixed together so we don't have any flare-ups. You want to watch the stand while it's mixing to make sure that all the ingredients appear as if they're mixed together. You want it to look something like this. Next, we will want to add our 2 teaspoons of vanilla and our 2 eggs. Personally, I like to crack my eggs into a bowl first to make sure all the shells aren't in there. Otherwise, you're going to have a crunchy snickerdoodle, and no one wants a crunchy snickerdoodle. Once your cracked eggs are shell-free, you're going to want to put them into the bowl. You want to turn your stand mixer on to the same speed as you were creaming the butters and sugar and shortening together. Now, most recipes will tell you don't mix your eggs in for too long, otherwise it's not going to turn out as fluffy. But for snickerdoodles, you want to mix them in longer, almost as if the whites of the eggs are fluffing up. This provides a fluffier texture for the snickerdoodle itself. Next, we will add all of our powder ingredients. This includes our cream of tartar, our baking soda and salt, and then our flour. Now, when mixing these ingredients together, it's important that you don't stir too fast in the beginning, otherwise all the flour and powder will fluff up and you'll have a giant mess everywhere. So it's important to start off at a slow stirring speed, and then slowly work your way up as the powders get mixed in. What I personally like to do when all the ingredients seem mixed together is I'll take a spatula and I'll kind of scrape along the bottom of it, just to make sure that there's no powder sticking underneath and that's hiding in the creases. Your dough should be sticky to the touch, but still able to keep its shape wherever it's formed. Now that the dough is prepared, you're going to want to prepare a pan. I've already pre-prepared a pan with a stick of butter, but you can use any sort of non-stick spray. Simply, if you're going to use a stick of butter, take it and slide it all over and make sure it's all coated nice and even. And if it's just a spray, well, just spray the pan. It's simple as that. Now, you should always wash your hands before handling any sort of food, but this step is especially important because you're going to be handling the dough directly. You're going to want to take a chunk of it into your fingertips and simply roll it into a ball about 1 inch wide and 1 inch thick. After you're done rolling it into a ball form, you're going to want to take that same cinnamon and sugar mixture from before and just roll it around. roll the dough around in this mixture. After it seems to be evenly coated all around, just simply put the ball of dough in your pre-prepared pan, about an inch away from the edges. For an easy layout that's going to be easy for you in handling the dough and rolling it around, is set your bowl to your left side, your pan to your right side, your cinnamon and sugar in the middle, and a pot of flour a little bit behind that cinnamon and sugar mixture. What is the flour for, you may ask? Personally, I found that when handling snickerdoodles, it's really easy to handle the dough when your fingertips have been dipped in a pot of flour. That way it's just not as sticky to your hands and more so to the cinnamon and sugar itself. You're going to want to repeat the steps from the rolling process until your pan is full. Now, I found that when baking snickerdoodles, it's easier to bake them when you put the balls of dough in a row of 3 by 4. That way, when they bake and they expand, they don't touch as easily as they would, let's say, a chocolate chip cookie. The last step you're going to want to do is place your sheet of cookies into the oven and set a timer for roughly between 10 and 14 minutes. I found through my many experiences of baking cookies that how fast they really cook depends on what kind of oven you have, how fast your mixer was going, how well of a mixer you're using, and what the weather conditions are like outside. I've made batches of cookies in the winter where they turn out perfect, but then you go in the summer with the varying degrees of weather and the humidity, and some of them turn out fluffier than others, while others are hard as a rock. So really experience around and test around to see what kind you like and how you like your snickerdoodles to be. So that's all I have for you today, and I hope you enjoy your snickerdoodle cookies. My last tip for you is going to be, when you're done baking, don't forget to unplug all your utilities and to turn off the oven.